interest charges as a result of the cancellation of e-tolls. So with interest, it takes it to just over 20 billion. The financing or rather interest to service the debt will also be higher, as it will be measured against the capital debt at the time the loan to settle the debt is approved. Negative impact on the province's fiscus and equitable share should be managed efficiently to ensure that critical social and economic programs are funded, such as education and healthcare. In addition to this, the provincial treasury has struggled with revenue collection from residents of the province owing to factors including non-payment of motorist fines and non-payment of rent. Revenue collection currently stands at less than 20%. That's for this quarter. Gauteng had the worst economic contraction of all provinces in 2020, the impact of which continued to be felt across most industries. Particularly impacted is infrastructure maintenance and development. Due to the pandemic, the COVID, several infrastructure projects ran over the prescribed time of delivery with significant cost overruns. Besides manufacturing, other industries that have not recovered post-COVID include construction, tourism, agriculture, retail, and wholesale trade and domestic services. The key priority of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury, rather government, is the current in this current administration is revenue enhancement, and thus provide sustainable financial resources for service delivery. The priority is anchored around increase of the existing own revenue resources and modernization of processes to increase efficiency, cost effectiveness, client satisfaction, and eliminate loopholes in terms of collection mechanisms. Through the process of financial and revenue collection, economic planning, and specifically infrastructure development, the provincial government aims to generate revenue in order to ensure the provision of service and reindustrialization efforts. Critical to this will be promoting compliance and leveraging public procurement to promote the township economy. We will intensify efforts to finalize the establishment of a provincial state bank. One of the key objectives of this bank will be investing in projects characterized by low private sector investment and high social return. The number of micro and the provision of sustainable or rather suitable infrastructure, including work sites, social amenities, business information centers, and common usage facilities necessary for the development of township-based enterprises. In addition, we will invest in the manufacturing capacity of township enterprises to minimize reliance on the procurement of goods from major retailers. We are already working with the SOEs, such as AXA, to include the most marginalized in the mainstream. The capital investment program of AXA presents opportunities for many of our youth to participate in the airport economy. The private sector has also stepped forward through programs like the last mile delivery service, global business service, and installation, repair, and maintenance to help in creating an inclusive economy in Gauteng. Government procurement spend remains concentrated in few mainstream players. We will utilize this lever to give effect to Township Economy Development Act. It is unjust for such concentrated populations as the township population to be so underproductive with minuscule economic output. This term will accelerate the work of our predecessors in this regard. Our Special Economic Zones program, supported by intensive investment promotion, will be utilized to accelerate reindustrialization of the Gauteng City region. We will continue to support investment in the automotive sector with special attention given to electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles. Expanding renewable energy, infrastructure, and diversify the energy mix in Gauteng will create both energy stability and much wanted jobs. We are already working with industry towards the implementation of energy efficiency measures in industrial production, buildings, and transportation. Energy infrastructure development will extend to investing in smart grids and storage technologies. SMMEs in the broader private sector will benefit from investment in this strategic sector. Additionally, collaboration between Gauteng province and KZN is culminating in plans to build smart corridors for efficient freight movement. Other initiatives to be pursued this term include the development of EV charging infrastructure, promotion of cycling and non-motorized transport, integration of smart mobility solutions. The unemployed youth will be targeted for skills development in this sector. The frontier of this aggressive strategy will be a contribution to the National Green Hydrogen Plan for 2035, where green hydrogen production seeks to create potentially 180,000 jobs by 2035 and has had an indirect job target of 360,000, resulting in upskilling target which is 500,000 plus. We are certain that by the end of this term, Gauteng will be the center of the green economy in Africa. Working with our national counterparts, we will double our efforts in resolving the logistical constraints faced by the auto sector. The green economy is growing frontier for economic development, and through our VAL SEZ, we will support investment in this sector. Agro-industrial investment in technology, capital equipment, and financial solutions will also be important levers for the West Rand SEZ. Mineral beneficiation and financial technology will anchor both the OR Tambo SEZ and City of Johannesburg economic corridor. Lastly, the Lanseria Smart City mega project continues to be our vision for attracting more innovators and content creators into the province. Where else LSC will be the anchor, rather the Lanseria Smart City will be the anchor. Our strategy is province-wide. Improvement of internet speed and reducing prices to boost IP-based applications. Entertainment content and smart devices are expected to continue to be an opportunity for growth by developing local content, digital entertainment, and education for domestic and international consumption. Gauteng will be the hub of data science centers where enterprise solutions such as cloud, cyber security, big data, and artificial intelligence gain strategic significance. Based on this, the province will be aggressive in investing in digital skills, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, and data science. Several identified key vertical sectors and potential digital and ICT-led development opportunities for Gauteng are as follows: agriculture, construction, education, healthcare, financial services, manufacturing, mining, retail and wholesale, transport and logistics, and smart cities, including government and public administration. Structural transformation of regional economy in sectors like chemical, clothing, textile, leather and footwear, electronics, aerospace, and construction will see us contribute to increased skills technology, finance, and infrastructure growth in marginalized areas. These areas should increase their economic output proportionally and participate in high-value industries too. Linked to this, we'll establish a provincial government-owned pharmaceutical company that will prioritize the production of vaccines. We will strengthen the support for cooperatives in strategic sectors of the provincial economy. These include financial services, agro-processing, e-commerce, tourism, and construction. In terms of financial services, we will invest in microfinances cooperatives that provide financial and technical assistance to individual and collective enterprises within the province. Cooperatives will also be supported to acquire and develop agricultural strategic land parcels. Beyond cooperatives, we remain committed to growing SMME sector through robust skills development, increased access to infrastructure, as well as cutting-edge technologies and a more aggressive development finance environment. This, together with partnerships formed with the private sector, should yield SME growth and increased market access. SME globally creates the higher percentage of jobs, but have the least support. We want to change this narrative by reducing barriers to entry for the SMME sector and cutting red tape. Ease of doing business will be mantra for this term. Our youth should not be burdened with institutional lethargy and slow decision making. The face of our challenge is the youth, women, and people living with disabilities. As such, we will increase our pace in improving the access of these social categories to development, finance, artisanal skills, technology, and economic infrastructure closest to their areas of resistance. So this, ladies and gentlemen, it's a build-up to what we will call the Gauteng Economic Growth Strategy. Today we thought we should update the citizens of our province so that they must know that we are not resting. We are working very hard, but they must also know that we've got vision and we've got plans, and we will definitely work towards the success of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Colleagues, if there are any questions, please introduce yourself and the institution you come from. Will be number one, number two, three. Okay.
Thank you very much, EOC. My name is Mudiba from the Inside Factor. You've mentioned the establishment of a provincial state-owned bank. I just want to find out from the department itself, will you be going out to international countries, such as your Greece countries, to come and invest in the province? You've also, my second question is, you've also never shied away from the fact that black businesses must be given an opportunity. Are we going to see, for a change, this administration, black businesses being given key contracts, being given an opportunity to partake in infrastructure development projects? Thank you very much.
Tabiso Goba from Eyewitness News. I think my first question is just a clarity matter because it's not written here in the statement. I just want to know what is the date for how do I think it was 20 billion. I just want to clarify how much that is. Also, can we get what is the latest on the e-tolls loan in terms of securing that loan? How far is the provincial government? And my last question is the MEC spoke about the high debts the province has at a diminishing revenue base. I just want to know what maybe mitigating factors are they, how the province is planning maybe to cut cost, or how they're going to plan to increase revenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Need further questions. Good morning, MEC. Some experts are saying that GDP growth in Gauteng in the country decelerated from 1.9 in 2022 to 0.6. Now, they cited things like your electricity shortage, your transport sector constraints, and a number of things. Now, my question is, what is the projected economic growth of this province?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kyle. You want us to, you see, someone else can also ask a question linked to that. How many jobs are you going to create in the next 5 years? So you will you will realize that deliberately we have not included the projected economic growth, the number of jobs that we're going to create, because you can't thumbsuck those. There are different variables that you have to look at. As you correctly said, energy is one of them. The water situation, transport, macroeconomic issues, international, geopolitical issues and all that. So you don't wake up and say, we will grow the economy by this much without taking into consideration and doing a proper research. So it is deliberate that we have not spoken about that. But in the next few months, and it won't be too long, we should be able to do that so that we can be able to work towards a specific goal. But as you know, our economy is not an island. It's tied to that of the country, of the continent, and of the world. So it is for that reason that we can't just thumbsuck figures. That's the first thing. The other thing, Tabiso, it's actually, if you look at the statement, it's 12 billion, which is a debt. Then there's 4.1 billion, which is about infrastructure maintenance. So there's a backlog. The roads have to be maintained, otherwise they will regress. So people don't want to pay, and where we are now, we've agreed that government must take that debt. So 4.1 billion is for infrastructure. And then there's interest, as I've said. So when you add all those, it gives you just over or around 20 billion. The other issue, we are on track on the e-tolls payment. We should make our first payment now in September, and we will keep the public updated in terms of how much we are paying, but we will be paying, and we are speaking to various financial institutions, and the discussions are at an advanced stage. Even in that regard, we will make an announcement once one of the institutions agrees, especially to finance the 4.1 billion of maintenance. We will get to that. But we've got everything sorted out. We've got the different options on our table that we are looking at. The issue of revenue, I should start by saying in the last 5 years, Gauteng government has raised own revenue of 34.9 billion. And we think that we can significantly increase that amount, because there are a number of initiatives we are putting in place to help us increase our revenue. We've got a revenue enhancement strategy, and we are working on implementing that revenue enhancement strategy. That's why we were able to raise 34.9 billion. We will be putting a target, I think, soon as well, on how much own revenue do we want to raise. But we also are looking at other instruments provided by the law to raise money, which we are not going to talk about now prematurely. And that could include raising bonds. But as you know, it will require national treasure. So we can't then speak about those issues now. We have to be clear. Starting a state bank, it's one of those big long-term sustainable initiatives of raising revenue. Mudibe, black businesses are getting big contracts in Gauteng already. if you look at the construction sector, for instance, you have now a significant number of black-owned construction companies who are sitting at CIDB level 9 and 8, meaning that they get those multi-million contracts. You've got mega settlements projects in Gauteng, which are multi-year, multi-million human settlements meant to build 10,000 and more houses. A lot of those, if not all of them, are run by black-owned developers. So we can go on and on, but we definitely want to make sure that we continue to not give the same people work only, but also introduce new players. And I think that's what is important. It is for that reason that we have what we call an open tender system. I've not spoken about it here today, but we are going to tighten it so that our tenders must be adjudicated transparently. Everybody must know how a decision has been reached on any tender, so that there are no secrets. And we will even look at the possibility of automating our procurement systems so that we limit the interference of humans. Because when there are human beings involved, that's where fraud, corruption happens and all that. So it's one of the big things that we would have to look at HOD, we have not spoken about, but automating our procurement systems to be able to create space for more and more, so that it's not about who you know. It should be about your capacity, it should be about your skills and what you have to offer. The state-owned bank, we are looking at different options, including trying to buy one of the existing banks. So we are looking at different options. We are serious about it. And for us, it's also about getting partners who have the money, who have the knowledge, the systems, the skills to run a bank. So we are not going to take chances. There's no room for trial and error. We need to get a properly functioning bank and partner with people who know what they're doing, so that we can, and it must be run like a proper bank and compete even with the other banks. Thank you very much.
1, 2, 3. This is the last round, by the way. Okay, 4. This is the last round, by the way. No? Okay. 5. Okay.
From Newsroom Africa. ABC, I wanted to check, will we see the massive funding programs being taken as a priority under this government provincial unity, and in terms of the financial resources, how much in terms of percentage will they take in the overall spending? But also, the major metros in Gauteng are having serious problems in terms of infrastructure maintenance, but also the issue of crime. I understand it's in municipalities, but in the broader Gauteng community development plan, how are you featuring the cities as government in terms of developing them? We also understand that some of the offices of the provincial government resides in these municipalities, so what's the relation there? The issue of social development and non-profit organizations and not getting funds on time. Under this new administration, what's the attitude of government in terms of allocating money towards those projects?
Number 2 is it's about revenue collection. That's a very, very juicy and sensitive topic, especially when it comes to money owed to government and municipalities. Now, I want to put it back to you and ask you the following question. Are you able to spin I know you don't want to mention figures. Maybe give us percentage. How much you try to collect. And then, secondly, like I said, it's a choosing and a very sensitive topic. Is it a mission possible for government to do that?
Would you be from the inside factor again? During the weekend, I see you were with gambling boards, the tourism boards, liquor boards. Are they contributing enough to the revenue of the province? Are they doing enough to attract tourists into the province and to create employment in the province? So that would be my last question.
Thank you. Chief Control with PSA. This is maybe this was an administration, and legislative there's been this problem of red tape, like the NSCS alluded, institutional lethargy, as well as slow decision making. I just want to know what measures are going to be put into place this time around, that at least those people who are marginalized are given the opportunity to also get being active in the economy. Thank you.
That's Patricia Kasaka from the SABC. MEC, what exactly will your positioning be in terms of dealing with the municipalities in Gauteng that are struggling financially, and how will you navigate around those municipalities that are not governed by the ANC?
Was that the last question? How do we navigate those that are not governed? Okay. No, thanks for the questions. The issue of Nasispani. Nasispani is going to continue, and Nasispani is going to be mainstreamed, meaning in every program that we do, the question we must ask is, how many jobs does that program give us? So Nasispani is not just going to be isolated from our work that we do as government, and that's why it will not have a separate budget called Nasispani budget, because the whole budget, how much our budget is?
It's about 163.
Yeah, our budget is 163 billion. So 163 billion must help us to create jobs, must help us to propel the economy, must help us to achieve all sorts of things. So Nasispani is continuing. And in fact, there's about just over 480,000 jobs which we had announced working with UIF. They've made available 8.5 billion. And they're rolling that in our province. We'll be making a follow-up too. So we did not include some of those things. The Premier will speak about them, but we will also locate the coordination of that Nasispani in the Premier's office, so that we are able to elevate it. So it is continuing. It was not a gimmick. It was not some election campaign ploy. Because I know why you are asking. We are genuine. So, and then the issue of infrastructure in municipalities, another issue which we will deal with. It's not infrastructure in municipalities. I think it's infrastructure in the province. You need to deal with the issue of one of the problems why there's water challenges. It's the infrastructure that's old, the pipes that are old that needs to be revamped, and they need a lot of money. The road infrastructure, you know, there's potholes. Another issue about energy is related to that. So it's not just about infrastructure in municipalities, the infrastructure in the province. If we want to take the economy of Gauteng to the next level, at the center is how we respond to the infrastructure challenges, and how do we budget for infrastructure in the province, and most importantly, how do we leverage relations with the private sector, because some of this will require huge investments, and government might not be able to immediately have money available, because we are spending most of our budget on important social needs like education, like health, social development, etc., etc. But we are in agreement that we must deal with that. The issue of social development and NPOs, I thought you won't raise it. We had a meeting, myself and the MEC of Social Development, with the senior officials at the Social Development Department last week, Monday, I think, and we agreed that those who are supposed to be paid, I think they've been paid by Friday. Yeah. So, as far as we are concerned, most of them, where there are no issues, because there are instances where there are issues, maybe someone has not submitted a report, because if they give you money, you must report. If you don't report, they can't pay you. So there are some few where there's no payment because of that. But our attitude, and that's why the Premier started by apologizing to the NPO sector, because the NPO sector is a very important sector in the ecosystem, which must not be treated like stepchilds or like orphans. We are not doing them a favor. They are our partners. We've got the responsibility as the state to help the NPO sector, because it's also helping us. It's actually complementing the work that government is doing. So we view the NPO sector as a very important sector, and we will be at all cost avoiding the unfortunate misdemeanor that occurred in the last a few months. And we have even agreed that we have to look at the approach of how we finance them. So we have to agree on 3-year agreements, so that you don't have a 1 year, so that it helps them to plan. They are employing people, they have commitments like paying rent and all that. So if they know that they have a 3-year commitment from government and there's no issue, we are able to deal with those issues. So we've had those discussions with the MEC of social development. In percentage terms, how much do we plan to collect? Look, if we can increase our revenue by between 20 and 30%, I think that would be great. And that's why our revenue enhancement strategy will look at how that can be achieved. And then it's not mission impossible. As I've said, that we have already raised 34.9 billion. That's huge. So it's mission possible. A mission that requires courageous men and women who are not lazy, who are committed, and then it will be mission possible. So we are certain that we will be able to get to this. Execute this task. The agencies you are referring to, Gambling Board, by the way, contributes about R1 billion into our provincial coffers. Though we think it's not enough. It's one of the agencies we are looking at making sure that we help us raise more money. Liquor Board, we are looking at also increasing licensing fees and looking at other opportunities there, because in all honesty, a liquor license is extremely cheap in the context of Gauteng. Even for your big institutions like restaurants and hotels that are in upmarket suburbs, they pay nothing. So we would want to increase that significantly. The tourism authority, as I've said in the statement, tourism is one of the sectors that were affected by COVID here in Gauteng, and it is only recovering now. You have lodges, conference facilities that had to close down, and they have not recovered. So we are working on that with them. And then the red tape, it's a big challenge, and you will know that at the national level, the president has even appointed someone to deal with that. We are going to deal with the red tape. We will be putting a red tape war room to help us deal with the red tape, which will be located at our investment SA center here in Sandton, where you will have all government departments who are responsible for regulations and for issuing of permits and licenses. Because red tape occurs when it takes long for people to get decisions. For instance, it used to take about 24 months just to start a construction project, just to start, because you must get your plans approved by the municipality. Certain instances, you must get the EIAs, you must get all sorts of plans. So we are going to say, if it takes 24 months to start a construction project, we would want that in the next 3 years, for instance, it should at least take 3 months. And for us to get to that point, what must happen? So we don't want to talk about the red tape in general terms and just sound like we are having clarity on what must be done. It's not enough. It shouldn't be about the eloquence with which we articulate the issues about red tape, but the precision with which we're able to solve issues that are related to red tape. The municipalities that are struggling financially, Patricia, you know, we did not include that in the statement. It's deliberate again. So everything you don't see here, it's not because we have not thought about it. It's deliberate. So why is it deliberate? Because we don't want to speak with municipalities through the media. We have not yet met with municipalities. So we will have our first meeting with municipalities, I think next week, Tuesday or so, the MMCs, to look at the state of finances. But from where we are, because we've got a legislative responsibility to do oversight on the finances of the municipalities. We've got a strong unit responsible for that, and we have a sense of where the finances of the municipalities are. We know this is a matter of interest for the public. It's one of the issues that we will invite you to come, and in that briefing we want to have all the MMCs responsible for finance, and then we're able to say this is a state of finance in municipalities, and what measures are we putting in place to deal with that. Linked to that is the issue of ratings for municipalities, because it has a direct bearing on their ability to raise loans, to raise more revenue, to be able to sustain themselves. So we are definitely looking at the issue of the state of municipalities, but we don't want to sit here and speak to municipalities through the media. We are going to meet them next week. So how do we navigate municipalities that are not governed by the ANC? For us, that issue does not arise because there's a legal framework that guides the relationship between the provincial government and the municipalities. And when we engage with the municipalities, it has nothing to do with the political or ideological orientation or affiliation of this or that municipality. It must be based on the constitutional principles and the legal prescripts. So we are not going to be relating with municipalities based on who is governing them, but based on what is expected of them by the law. Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, we have come to the end of this media briefing. Thank you very much for coming. But for those who want to have a one-on-one with the MEC, they can indicate. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're automating our procurement systems. It will take time. You don't not make it easy. Oh. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh. Oh, then you'll brief me. Yeah. Yeah. No. We'll get there. Because that's what I think we need to. Though I think it will take a bit of time. You can just pilot with. Decide where. Yeah. Oh. Oh. No, it's fine. Thanks. Togo. How many? How are you?
Okay, now let me speak to